Did you know that the average small business in America operates on a net profit margin of barely 7 to 10%? That means for every $100,000 they bring in, they might only keep $7,000 when all the dust settles and the taxes are paid. Most people who start a business spend their entire lives chasing top-line revenue, completely blind to the fact that top-line revenue is vanity, while bottom-line profit is sanity. If you build a business with terrible margins, you have not actually built a business at all. You have built a low-paying job with incredibly high anxiety. But what if you flipped the script? What if you focused entirely on the margin first? What if you looked for industries where the materials are cheap, the competition is non-existent, and the customer is desperate for a solution? My name is John. Today, we are looking at 12 small businesses with some of the best profit margins in the entire economy. Some of these are unglamorous, some of them are downright boring. But here is the boring thesis you will hear me repeat throughout this video. Boring is an advantage. When a business is boring, people ignore it, which means lower competition and higher margins for the few who are willing to do the work. We are going to count down from 12 to 1. And I promise you want to stick around for number 1. The final business on this list operates with an astonishing 80 to 95% net profit margin, requires virtually zero material costs, and relies entirely on a specific skill that takes just a few months to learn. Let's get into it. Starting our countdown at number 12, we have trash can cleaning. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Cleaning garbage cans sounds terrible. It sounds smelly, it sounds gross, and it sounds like the absolute last thing you want to do on a Tuesday morning. But let us do the math. To get started, you need between $3,000 and $15,000 for a hot water pressure rig mounted on a trailer. Once you have the equipment, the ongoing costs are incredibly low. Your main expenses are just water, a bit of eco-friendly detergent, and gas for your truck. This leads to net profit margins hovering between 50 and 70% once your route is established and your density improves. The absolute beauty of this business model is the recurring revenue. You are not just cleaning a trash can once and walking away hoping they call you again. You are selling a subscription. You charge homeowners $20 to $35 per month for bi-weekly or monthly cleaning. If you can build a route of 200 to 300 customers, you are looking at $6,000 to $10,000 in highly predictable, recurring monthly revenue. Think about it like this. It is exactly like a software as a service company. But instead of writing code, you're blasting away last week's chicken scraps. One operator on the Sweaty Startup forum on Reddit built a route of over 200 homes at $10 to $15 per bin per month. And his margins are phenomenal because he optimized his driving route. The market for trash bin cleaning is actually projected to reach over $1.56 billion by 2031, growing at an 11.3% annual rate. Think about the sheer efficiency of this operation. A good rig can clean a disgusting, maggot-infested bin in under 3 minutes flat. You pull up, the hydraulic lift dumps the bin over the high-pressure nozzles, the scalding water sanitizes the plastic, and you drop it back down smelling like pine or citrus. You can easily knock out 15 to 25 bins per hour in a dense neighborhood. The pattern here is that recurring revenue is the absolute key to high margins. You do the marketing work once to acquire the customer, and they pay you month after month, year after year. The boring thesis applies perfectly here. Nobody brags at a dinner party about being a garbage can cleaner. But while they are showing off their fancy tech startup that is burning through cash and laying people off, you are quietly pocketing 70 cents of every single dollar that comes in. Here is what nobody tells you. The smell of garbage quickly starts smelling like pure cash when your margins are this high. You're building equity in a route that can eventually be sold to a larger sanitation company. That is the kind of quiet wealth accumulation that the flashy entrepreneurs completely overlook. Furthermore, when you look at the macroeconomic environment, these types of services are largely recession-proof. When the economy tightens, homeowners might delay a kitchen remodel, but they cannot delay basic maintenance and protective services. Your service becomes a non-negotiable line item in their annual budget, securing your cash flow regardless of what the stock market is doing. Moving on to number 11, we have solar panel cleaning. This is a business where you're riding a massive megatrend with surprisingly zero competition in many local markets. The startup costs are laughably low, ranging from $1,500 to $5,000 for a high-quality water-fed pole and a deionized water system. Your revenue potential is anywhere from $75,000 to $200,000 a year. The profit margins are staggering, and we are talking 70 to 85% net margins. Why? Because your main material is water, which is essentially free, and your equipment is a one-time capital purchase. There's no heavy machinery to break down, no expensive inventory to store, and no complex supply chain to manage. You typically charge $150 to $300 per residential system, which usually consists of 20 to 30 panels on an average suburban roof. The job takes maybe 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the pitch of the roof and the level of grime. If you can line up 4 to 6 homes in a single day, you're making $800 to $1,100 daily. With over 4 million homes in the United States currently sporting rooftop solar and more than 500,000 new installations happening every single year, the market is exploding. Here's what nobody tells you. Dirty panels can lose 15 to 25% of their energy efficiency. When you explain to a homeowner that your cleaning service will actually save them money on their electric bill, it becomes the easiest sale in the world. You are not selling a cleaning service. You are selling a return on their expensive solar investment. But the real money, the life-changing money, is in commercial contracts. Commercial solar farms will pay $5,000 to $15,000 per cleaning cycle. One Reddit operator on the solar subreddit landed just 3 commercial farm contracts and was pulling in $30,000 to $90,000 a year just from those 3 clients. They required minimal ongoing selling because they are on a fixed maintenance schedule. The global market for this service is projected to reach $2 to $3.5 billion by 2033 to 2035. The pattern here is simple. You are riding the coattails of a massive societal shift toward renewable energy, but you are providing the low-tech, high-margin maintenance required to keep it running. You let the solar companies spend millions on research, development, and customer acquisition, and you just show up with a pole and purified water to collect your 80% margin. It is a brilliant way to tap into the green economy without needing an engineering degree or millions in venture capital. The boring thesis strikes again. Another crucial aspect to consider is the ease of hiring and training. Because the core task is relatively simple and repetitive, you can train a reliable employee in a matter of days or weeks, not months or years. This means you can scale your operations faster and step out of the daily labor much sooner than in highly technical fields. Coming in at number 10 is asphalt seal coating. This is another classic example of the boring thesis. It is messy, it is outdoors, it happens during the hottest parts of the year, and it smells strongly like tar. But the margins will make you forget all of that in a heartbeat. You can start this business for $2,000 to $15,000, depending on whether you buy a used spray rig and a beat-up truck or invest in newer, more reliable equipment. A solo operator working out of a single rig can easily pull in $75,000 to $300,000 a year. And if you add a crew and a second truck, you can push past $500,000 very quickly. The profit margins sit comfortably between 50 and 70%. Let us look at the arithmetic, because the numbers here are beautiful. Sealant costs roughly $0.10 to $0.20 per square foot when you buy it in bulk, but you charge the customer $0.30 to $0.50 per square foot to apply it. For a standard residential driveway, you're charging $200 to $600. If you hustle and have your routes planned efficiently, you can complete 5 to 8 residential driveways in a single day, grossing $2,000 to $4,000 daily. Commercial parking lots are where it gets truly lucrative, bringing in $2,000 to $15,000 or more per job. You can do a church parking lot on a Saturday morning and walk away with $5,000 in profit. One entrepreneur started with a simple $2,000 spray rig and earned $2,500 to $3,000 every single weekend during his first season while still working a full-time job. By his second year, he hit $200,000 with a small crew. Another operator scaled his business to nearly $2.8 million over 4 years by aggressively targeting property management companies. Driveways and parking lots need resealing every 2 to 3 years, which means you have built-in repeat business. If you live in the north, it is a seasonal sprint from April to October. If you live in the south, you can print money year-round. The pattern here is that the material costs are comically low compared to what you can charge for the finished product. Customers are paying for the intense physical labor, the convenience of not doing it themselves, and the massive aesthetic improvement to their property, while you're pocketing a massive spread on inexpensive liquid tar. Think about it like this. You're literally painting the ground and getting paid an absolute premium for it. Moreover, the customer lifetime value in this specific niche is astonishing. Once a homeowner trusts you to perform this service reliably and professionally, they will instinctively call you back every single time the need arises. They become your loudest advocates, generating high-quality, free word-of-mouth referrals that continuously drive down your customer acquisition costs. Number 9 on our list is air duct cleaning. The startup costs are slightly higher for this one, typically landing between $5,000 and $20,000 for a professional duct cleaning machine, heavy-duty vacuums, specialized rotary brushes, and a reliable van to transport everything. However, a solo operator can generate $100,000 to $300,000, and margins sit firmly at 55 to 75% because there's virtually zero consumable expense. Once you own the equipment and pay for your initial marketing, your only real ongoing costs are fuel, vehicle maintenance, and your time. You are not buying parts, you're not buying materials, you're just moving air and dust out of the home. You can confidently charge $300 to $600 per residential home. A typical job takes 2 to 3 hours, meaning you can comfortably do 2 to 3 jobs per day without exhausting yourself. The smart move here is the upsell. While you are already at the house with your equipment set up, you offer to clean the dryer vent for an additional $100 to $150. This brings your average ticket up to $500 or $600. Commercial jobs can range from $1,000 to $10,000 depending on the square footage. One operator started with a $5,000 portable unit and grossed $120,000 in his first year completely solo. Another operator constantly bundles duct cleaning with dryer vent cleaning to ensure his average ticket never drops below $500. The indoor air quality market has exploded recently, and it is largely driven by a post-COVID awareness of what we are breathing. The global market is hovering around $6 billion and is expected to reach $10 to $11 billion by 2034. Yet, there are only about 5,000 certified companies nationally through the National Air Duct Cleaners Association, which means incredibly low competition for professional certified operators. The average home has not had its ducts cleaned in over 5 years, if ever. If you get certified, you create a legitimate moat around your business. Certification creates trust, and trust allows you to charge premium prices. The pattern here is that specialized equipment combined with a recognized certification gives you pricing power in a market where homeowners are increasingly paranoid about their health and the air they breathe. Here's what nobody tells you. Fear is a fantastic motivator, and when people worry about their family breathing in toxic dust, they do not hesitate to write a large check for peace of mind. Beyond that, the barrier to entry might seem low at first glance, but the true barrier is consistency and professionalism. Most of your competitors will fail simply because they do not answer their phones, do not show up on time, and do not provide a seamless customer experience. If you simply execute the basics flawlessly, you will quickly dominate your local market and capture the lion's share of the profit pool. Halfway to our top spot, at number 8, is crawl space encapsulation. If you want to make serious, life-changing money, you have to be willing to go exactly where other people will not go. And nobody, absolutely nobody, wants to crawl under a house in the pitch dark surrounded by spiders, standing water, and toxic mold. You can start this business with $5,000 to $20,000 in equipment, which includes thick vapor barrier materials, commercial-grade dehumidifiers, basic hand tools, and a reliable van. A 2-person crew can generate $150,000 to $500,000 a year, and the margins are fantastic, typically landing between 45 and 65% net. To put this in perspective and do the math, the materials for a massive $15,000 encapsulation job might only cost you $2,500 to $4,000. You're charging $5,000 to $15,000 per crawl space, and the job usually takes a 2-person crew 1 to 3 days to complete. One former general contractor on Reddit transitioned his entire business exclusively to crawl spaces because he found it had the absolute highest margins of any trade he had ever worked in, with his average ticket sitting at $8,000. Even on the Home Service Expert podcast, they featured a crawl space company doing $2 million a year with incredible profitability. There are 27 million homes in the United States with crawl spaces, and the vast majority of them have serious moisture issues that the homeowner is completely unaware of. Here is what nobody tells you about this business. Education-based marketing is your absolute best friend. 50% of the air in a home comes up directly from the crawl space. All you have to do is take high-definition photos of the nasty, moldy, damp conditions under a potential client's house and show them what they are breathing every single night while they sleep. It is a highly specialized niche, meaning you will face very little competition from general handymen who are terrified of the liability. The pattern is clear. High-ticket services requiring specialized knowledge, specific environmental solutions, and a willingness to do the dirty, uncomfortable work result in immense pricing power. The boring thesis proves that getting your hands dirty translates directly into massive profit margins that desk workers can only dream of. Additionally, think about the compound effect of local search engine optimization. By consistently gathering 5-star reviews from satisfied clients, your business will naturally rise to the top of Google searches in your area. This creates a powerful, self-sustaining lead generation engine that works 24 hours a day, further increasing your margins by eliminating the need for expensive paid advertising campaigns. Number 7 is a brand new idea that is perfectly suited for a low-cost startup: mobile screen repair. Think about window screens and patio screen doors. When they inevitably rip from a dog jumping on them or a stray baseball, what does the homeowner do? They put it off forever. Taking the screen out, figuring out how to fit it in their car, driving it to the hardware store, and waiting 2 weeks for a teenager to repair it is a massive hassle. You can start a mobile screen repair business for $1,000 to $2,000. All you genuinely need is a high-quality spline roller, a sharp utility knife, various rolls of fiberglass, an aluminum screen mesh, and some aluminum frames. You can run this out of the trunk of a sedan if you had to. Your revenue potential is $50,000 to $150,000 a year, with incredible profit margins of 60 to 75%. The materials cost absolutely next to nothing. You can easily apply markups of 150 to 300% on the mesh and spline. The customer will gladly pay it. You charge $25 to $75 per simple screen repair and $50 to $150 to fabricate a brand new screen on site if the frame is bent. The secret here is mobile convenience. People are not paying for the screen mesh. They are paying for you to show up at their house, handle the annoying task, and make the problem disappear without them having to lift a single finger. You target older neighborhoods, elderly homeowners who physically cannot remove the screens, and property managers who need quick turnaround times between tenants. While you are at the house repairing one patio screen, you simply offer to inspect all the other windows and often walk away with 5 or 6 repairs instead of just one. You can start this as a weekend warrior operation and scale it up to a full-time gig. The pattern here is that convenience is what people really pay for, and they will always pay a premium to reclaim their weekend time. Think about it like this. You are literally selling a lack of friction, and in modern society, friction is the enemy. It is also worth noting that the equipment depreciation schedule is highly favorable. The tools and machinery required are built to withstand heavy daily use and hold their value exceptionally well. When you eventually upgrade your equipment, you can often sell your initial setup for a significant percentage of what you originally paid, further bolstering your overall return on investment. Moving right along to number 6, we have fence staining and restoration. This is another brand new idea on our list with stellar margins that most people overlook. For $1,000 to $5,000, you can buy a professional airless paint sprayer, high-quality stain in bulk, and a commercial pressure washer. A solo operator can realistically make $75,000 to $200,000 a year, with margins consistently sitting between 55 and 70%. Let us break down the simple arithmetic of this business. The stain and preparation materials might cost you $0.50 to 1 point hour per linear foot, but you charge the homeowner $3 to $6 per linear foot. For a standard residential fence of 150 to 200 linear feet, you are charging $600 to over $200 for a job that takes only 3 to 5 hours of actual work. You can easily do 2 to 3 jobs a day during the peak summer season. One solo operator on the Sweaty Startup Forum generated $140,000 in annual revenue, taking home an impressive $100,000 in pure net profit, which is roughly a 70% margin. But the real gold mine in this business, the absolute holy grail, is homeowner association contracts. If you can land an HOA, you might be staining 20 to 30 fences in a single subdivision, netting you $15,000 to $25,000 for one large, highly concentrated project where you do not even have to drive between jobs. There are 30 million residential fences in the United States, and wood fences need restaining every 2 to 3 years to prevent rot and sun damage. That is a built-in repeat cycle. You can also upsell pressure washing as a required pretreatment, adding $200 to $300 per job. The pattern is clear. A built-in repeat cycle on an appreciating asset means recurring revenue and incredibly high margins. The boring thesis ensures that while everyone else is trying to launch the next big app, you are quietly power washing and painting your way to financial independence. Finally, the psychological toll of running this type of business is vastly lower than running a complex enterprise. You're not lying awake at night worrying about global shipping delays, massive payroll fluctuations, or sudden shifts in consumer trends. You are providing a tangible, immediate solution to a physical problem, collecting your payment and sleeping soundly, knowing your margins are secure and your business is stable. At number 5, we have gutter guard installation. This is a brilliant business model because it relies on a highly specific and effective upsell strategy. You can start for $2,000 to $8,000, which covers high-quality extension ladders, safety harnesses, a starting inventory of premium gutter guards, and a reliable vehicle capable of carrying long materials. Revenue typically ranges from $100,000 to $300,000 a year for a dedicated operator with profit margins of 35 to 50%. The strategy is brilliantly simple. You do not start by trying to cold sell expensive gutter guards to strangers. You start by offering affordable gutter cleaning services for $150 to $350. This immediately builds trust and gets you physically up on the roof. While you're up there, you take high-definition photos of the rotting leaves, the stubborn clogs, and the potential water damage threatening their foundation. You climb down, show those photos to the homeowner, and explain that for $1,500 to $4,000, they will never have to worry about climbing a dangerous ladder or dealing with this mess ever again. You effectively convert a low-cost entry service into a high-ticket installation that generates 10 times the revenue per customer. The materials for gutter guards are relatively inexpensive when compared to the immense perceived value of never having to clean gutters again. Furthermore, installing guards is far less labor-intensive and dangerous than doing full custom gutter replacements. Your lead generation is remarkably simple. Local search engine optimization, yard signs in older neighborhoods with mature trees, and those crucial photos you take during the first cleaning jobs. The pattern here is the classic upsell model. Use a low-cost, high-demand entry service to establish trust, and then land high-ticket, high-margin installations that solve the root problem permanently. Here is what nobody tells you. The real money in home services is not in the initial transaction, but in the trust you build that allows you to confidently prescribe expensive, permanent solutions. To add to this point, the operational logistics are remarkably straightforward once you establish your standard operating procedures. You are not dealing with complex supply chain issues or unpredictable wholesale costs. The predictability of your expenses allows you to forecast your profit margins with pinpoint accuracy. This level of control is what separates amateur operators from true business owners. Number 4 on our list is mold remediation. This one has a slightly higher barrier to entry, requiring $20,000 to $70,000 for commercial HEPA vacuums, heavy-duty air scrubbers, industrial dehumidifiers, specialized pollution liability insurance, and proper state or national certifications. However, that barrier to entry is exactly what fiercely protects your profit margins. A solo operator can clear $75,000 to $250,000, and if you build a crew and secure commercial contracts, the sky is truly the limit. Gross margins are consistently fantastic, ranging from 40 to 55% on very high-ticket jobs. Small residential projects might bring in a few hundred to a few $1,000s, but large commercial or insurance-backed residential jobs can range from $10,000 to tens of thousands of dollars for just a week of work. You absolutely need specific certifications, like the Water Damage Restoration Technician certification and specialized antimicrobial training. This creates a massive competitive moat. You also need pollution liability insurance, which can run $3,000 to $7,000 a year, depending on your state. But because of these strict requirements, the average person with a pickup truck and a shop vacuum cannot legally or safely compete with you. You build long-term business-to-business relationships with general contractors, property managers, and real estate agents who need mold issues resolved immediately to close pending real estate deals. Insurance-backed jobs are the highest ticket, though they do require meticulous photographic documentation and reporting. As many seasoned operators will tell you, the certification and insurance requirements intentionally keep the amateurs out, resulting in premium, unquestioned pricing for the professionals. The pattern here is that deliberate structural barriers to entry protect your pricing power and ensure you never have to race to the bottom on price. Think about it like this. In the mold business, red tape is actually a red carpet that leads directly to higher profit margins. Furthermore, when you look at the macroeconomic environment, these types of services are largely recession-proof. When the economy tightens, homeowners might delay a kitchen remodel, but they cannot delay basic maintenance and protective services. Your service becomes a non-negotiable line item in their annual budget, securing your cash flow regardless of what the stock market is doing. Coming in at number 3 is artificial turf installation. This is a massively booming industry with incredible upside. You can get started for $10,000 to $30,000, acquiring the necessary tools for intense base preparation, plate compactors, specialized cutting tools, seaming equipment, and a heavy-duty truck and trailer capable of hauling thousands of pounds of base material. Revenue can easily scale from $200,000 to well over $1 million a year for a dedicated team. Profit margins are incredibly solid, running 40 to 55%. While labor is a significant cost in this business, the markup on the turf material itself is substantial enough to carry the margin. Homeowners across the country are becoming increasingly water conscious, and pet owners are absolutely desperate for maintenance-free yards that do not turn into muddy disaster zones every time it rains. Each residential job will reliably bring in $5,000 to $15,000. If you secure commercial jobs for sports facilities, dog daycares, or large municipal playgrounds, you're looking at $20,000 to $100,000 or more per individual project. The sales pitch is incredibly logical. Think about it like this. Homeowners already spend $2,000 to $5,000 a year on lawn maintenance when you factor in mowing services, astronomical water bills, fertilizing, aeration, and weed control. High-quality artificial turf effectively pays for itself in 3 to 5 years, and then it is pure savings for the homeowner. In California, Nevada, and other states prone to extreme drought, this is a massive and rapidly growing market subsidized by municipal water rebates. Zero mowing, zero watering, zero fertilizer makes it a remarkably easy and satisfying sell. The pattern here is that you are solving a painful, expensive, and recurring problem by providing a one-time, high-margin, permanent solution. The boring thesis teaches us that people will always pay a premium to eliminate a chronic headache from their lives forever. Another crucial aspect to consider is the ease of hiring and training. Because the core task is relatively simple and repetitive, you can train a reliable employee in a matter of days or weeks, not months or years. This means you can scale your operations faster and step out of the daily labor much sooner than in highly technical fields. Just missing the top spot at number 2 is sprinkler winterization, often known as blowout service. This might legitimately be the best seasonal sprint business in existence today. You need roughly $3,000 to $10,000 for a high-capacity commercial-grade air compressor, a reliable truck, and some basic fittings and tools. You can make $60,000 to $200,000 a year in just a few short months, and the profit margins are absurdly high, often sitting at 60 to 75%. Your primary material is compressed atmospheric air, which is literally free. Your equipment is a one-time capital investment that will last for a decade if maintained properly. You charge anywhere from $75 to $150 per blowout, and the entire process takes an experienced operator maybe 15 to 30 minutes per house. During the absolute peak of the season, you can knock out 15 to 25 houses a day, grossing $1,500 to $3,000 every single day for 6 weeks straight. This is a non-negotiable mandatory service in cold weather climates. If homeowners decide to skip it to save $100, they inevitably face $3,000 to $10,000 in frozen and burst underground pipe repairs come springtime. The extremely time-sensitive nature of the season creates immense frantic urgency. Everyone in the city needs it done in the exact same 4 to 6 week window right before the first hard freeze hits. Many solo operators on Reddit report making their entire year's living during this short, intense window, effectively taking the rest of the year off. To round out the year and keep cash flowing, you can bundle this with spring system startups, ongoing irrigation repairs, or even high-margin holiday lighting installations. The pattern here is that the fear of massive catastrophic financial consequences drives incredibly reliable, urgent, and price-insensitive demand. Here's what nobody tells you. When a customer is acting out of a fear of loss, they do not shop around for the lowest price. They just hire the first person who answers the phone. Moreover, the customer lifetime value in this specific niche is astonishing. Once a homeowner trusts you to perform this service reliably and professionally, they will instinctively call you back every single time the need arises. They become your loudest advocates, generating high-quality, free word-of-mouth referrals that continuously drive down your customer acquisition costs. And finally, we have reached number 1. The absolute best small business for pure profit margins is paintless dent removal, commonly known as PDR. I intentionally saved this for last because the economics of this business are almost unbelievable to the average person. Startup costs are staggeringly low, requiring just $3,000 to $10,000 for a specialized PDR toolset, precision LED reflector lights, and a reliable, fuel-efficient vehicle. A solo mobile operator who knows what they are doing can comfortably generate $100,000 to $400,000 a year. And the profit margins? They sit at an astronomical 80 to 95% net margin. Why are the margins so incredibly high? Because there is virtually zero material cost. You use absolutely zero paint, zero chemical body filler, and zero sanding discs. You are selling pure, unadulterated, highly specialized skill. You typically charge $75 to $200 for a small door ding that takes an experienced technician just 15 to 45 minutes to gently massage out from behind the panel. If you establish a route and average 6 to 10 dents a day at local dealerships, you are consistently making $600 to $200 a day with basically zero overhead. You build solid relationships with 8 to 10 auto dealerships. They will consistently feed you 10 to 20 dents every single week because you make their used inventory look pristine. But the real lottery ticket, the absolute grand slam in PDR, is hail damage. A car caught in a severe hailstorm might have 30 to 50 dents across the hood and roof. At $50 to $100 a dent, you are billing $2,000 to $5,000 per car. Specialized storm chasing PDR technicians routinely earn $2,000 to $5,000 per day during hail season, traveling to whichever city just got hit. Hail damage costs United States insurers $10 to $15 billion every single year. And PDR is their strongly preferred method of repair because it is vastly faster than a body shop and completely preserves the factory paint. It takes 3 to 6 months of dedicated, frustrating practice to become proficient, which creates a massive skill barrier that keeps 99% of the competition away. With average new car prices now pushing over $48,000, owners are absolutely desperate to preserve their vehicle's value. This is the ultimate margin business because you are selling expertise, not materials. The pattern here is that when you sell deep, specialized expertise instead of physical goods, your margins are practically unlimited. Beyond that, the barrier to entry might seem low at first glance, but the true barrier is consistency and professionalism. Most of your competitors will fail simply because they do not answer their phones, do not show up on time, and do not provide a seamless customer experience. If you simply execute the basics flawlessly, you will quickly dominate your local market and capture the lion's share of the profit pool. Let me be honest with you for a second. As we look back at these 12 incredible businesses, there is one unifying, undeniable lesson you absolutely must understand if you want to succeed. Margin does not come from scale. Margin comes from intense specialization. The boring, highly specialized service will always, without fail, beat the exciting, generalized business that tries to be everything to everyone. Think about two guys. Let us call them Marcus and Tyler. Marcus desperately wanted to be perceived as a successful entrepreneur, so he started a trendy, tech-enabled logistics company. He rented a cool, glass-walled office downtown, hired a bunch of people with impressive titles, and chased massive top-line revenue to impress his friends. He was doing $5 million in sales, but his margins were a razor-thin 3%. He was constantly stressed out, overworked, buried in payroll taxes, and barely taking home a sustainable salary. Tyler, on the exact other hand, picked one boring service from this list. He specialized relentlessly. He bought a used truck, learned the specific trade inside and out, and kept his overhead near absolute zero. Tyler was only doing $300,000 in top-line revenue, but with a massive 70% margin, he was quietly taking home over $200,000 a year in pure profit. Tyler was wealthy. Marcus was just busy. If you have ever read The E-Myth Revisited or The Personal MBA, you know that a business is truly only as good as the underlying system that runs it and the margins it reliably produces day after day. Stop chasing flashy top-line revenue numbers to impress people you do not even like, and start looking intensely at what you actually get to keep in your bank account. The boring thesis is absolutely real. Do the simple math before you start. Find a specific niche where materials are incredibly cheap, or better yet, find a niche like PDR where your only material is your own specialized, hard-earned skill. So, I leave you with this final takeaway question. Which of these 12 businesses could you realistically start right now with what you already own in your garage? Which one of these aggressively boring businesses could permanently change your family's financial trajectory over the next 3 to 5 years? If you found real value in this breakdown and want to see more content exactly like this, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me which of these 12 businesses surprised you the absolute most.